that. I just think sometimes I'm like, is this really Kelly or is she just playing it out for her audience?
Absolutely. Because the whole thing with Andy and he's a sissy and da, da, da. And like when I saw her, like usually when you see someone, I'm not saying Kelly's a celebrity, but I'm just saying like someone with some social status, usually you talk to them. I usually say, oh, I love you and that. And I try to walk away. I don't want to waste it. She wouldn't let me and my aunt leave. Like we talked to her for 20 minutes, which is a long time to talk to someone when they're sitting at the bar and you're standing. It's like, she didn't want to leave us. I love Persians and I love you're so beautiful and I'm holding my hand. I mean, she was just absolutely, for lack of a better word, lovely. So when I see her persona online, I'm like, it feels like that's not her. Like I'm like, and I
I
guess
could
two
see
things
that.
might be true, but I'm like, wow, like you really play it up for the camera.
I could totally see that. So I don't know. Someone slip into my DMs and tell me exactly what's happening because people did, and I was like, but they didn't give any details. I'm like, I'm not going to go investigate this. But people were very outraged and asked me to please speak out against Kelly, and I'm like, I'm not. You have to lay me the facts. Like I can't go investigate this. I just don't have the energy. Wendy Williams, what do you think of this? Did you
Well,
see all this? She talked to Hollywood Unlocked and she talked to the Breakfast Club. And I thought this was really sad.
it's not. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people are like, she's got what she deserved. And but at the end of the day, like, yes, she said a lot of horrible things at times in her career, but I also feel like
Wasn't that the job?
that's the job. Like she's a radio personality. That was the job. And also, if you watch her Lifetime movie, which I really enjoyed, I know she didn't love it. She thought it wasn't, but I thought it was a great portrayal of someone that had to keep, she lost everything and then she had to rebuild her whole show. And, you know, for lack of a better word, she really kind of says what we were all thinking. There was a lot of new celebrity drama. Like I would love to hear her opinions about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively because I feel like she would say what we want to hear instead of like feel like everyone now pussyfoots around the real issue. Like I don't know. I think you can also listen. Blake Lively could have been victimized, but she could also be an asshole. Like,
I
but no one
think
says that.
both could be and probably are somewhat true.
Mhm.
You know, look, Wendy was her and like Howard Stern. I think they're both great at the job. But this is the first time she spoke since the movie and since her diagnosis. She basically said, look, there's going to be repercussions for me speaking, but let me be very clear. I'm trapped in a conservatorship. I'm like, oh no. She said all of this. I can't leave. She said, I am not cognitively impaired at all. And she was very calm in her speaking. She seemed coherent to me. This feels like a prison. Where I am with people in their 90s, 80s, and 70s. Something is very wrong with the people on my floor. I'm not there. The system is broken. This is emotional abuse. Her niece was on the call with Charlemagne and said, yeah, her guardian, is the only one that can make decisions. She cannot call out. Oh, she can make calls to you. You cannot call her. If you call, you cannot get through. She cannot leave or have visitors. When the niece went to visit her, she had to like basically explain for an hour who she was. She can't make any purchases. I'm like, here we go, because we know all this comes down to money. She can't make any purchases. She has to ask her guardian for permission. She can't pick her own doctors. She has to, they're picked for her. She wants to see her father, who's 94 at 94. This could be your last day on Earth. And yeah,
Mhm.
doesn't sound so great for it. This is like another Britney Spears, although I actually think Wendy is a lot more competent than Britney.
Agreed. Agreed. And I think that, but what I want to know is why does this keep happening to women? Right? Like we saw Tom Girardi, he's not even on conservatorship. And he's like, he's defrauded all these
Yeah.
people. So why is this happening to women is what I want to know, right? When was the last time a man, we have Amanda Bynes, you have Britney Spears, you have her, and Britney Spears is like free from conservatorship, but not really. I mean, if you look at her Instagram, it's someone else is managing it. It looks, there's something kooky still going on. Like I think people have moved on from Britney, but I don't think Britney's free.
Something don't make sense. Yeah.
Things not mathing. So I think with Wendy, again, who is the guardian? Is it the state? Is it her ex-husband? I'm like, who, you know, and again, Wendy, I think I could be wrong, but I think there's millions and millions, hundred of millions of
I
dollars
think so. I think there's a lot of money.
at play. And even the way that Sherry Shepherd came in and just kind of took over that show was all a little suspect. was all just a little like it seemed too calculated, you know? And of course, I'm not denying that Wendy needs help, but I feel like if she's coherent enough to have this very kind of lucid conversation, why are we like, why is she not able to? I'm not saying she should do her show, but remember she was talking about doing a podcast, but then that got scrapped. So I don't know.
I
We'll
don't
see.
know where that is. Yeah, no, she seems coherent to me, and her niece is like, this is the deal, and she's coherent. And I mean, who knows if the niece wants money, but she sounded coherent to me.
Mhm.
So it's just really sad. And she said, there will be repercussions. She said, you might never hear from me again. Like my phone, she said, my phone will probably be taken away because I'm on the phone with you, but I don't know what else to do. Like I had to get my story out somehow. But she's like, I'll probably have my phone taken away. So could you imagine like you are coherent and someone gets you to be deemed not coherent and then says you're being put in a floor with 80, 90, and 70-year-olds that are, I imagine they're screaming. I imagine it's like a psych ward of some sorts and acting
That's what it
crazy.
sounds
And
like.
there you are and you can't leave. That sounds like a hell to me.
Well, especially when you don't need that help. Like if you need memory care
Right.
help and of course, like she does have like I know they think it's called spina bifida or something. I don't know what the exact disease she struggles with. But if you're coherent enough to make a call and you're on the air, I don't know if you need to be on that floor. Like
And not
I don't
to
know.
age shame the 90s, 80s, and 70s. She just
Sure,
isn't any of those
sure.
ages. She's in her
Not those ages.
60s. Right.
And some people are coherent. Like my grandfather's 94 and he's very coherent. Like he writes stuff, he gives speeches every week to our family. Like there are different layers to being a certain age, but when you're not there, you're not there. Like, so I don't know. And then she went to her son's graduation a couple weeks ago or a month ago. And so I know that but like she seemed fine. So I'm like, but there was so much security around her. I'm like, how did this all come to be is what I want to know.
Yeah. And like when she was on that scooter and she was like, they don't have my car and she was pissed off. I'm like, this is Wendy. She would be any normal, I
Yeah.
mean, I possibly wouldn't be, but anybody, it's not that unusual that you're pissed off that they brought the wrong car and you're waiting there and people are like, oh my God, there's Wendy. You're like, where's the fucking car? Like, get me out of here. Like, I get it. And she did seem being upset, seemed normal in
Yes.
that
Yes.
situation. So, yeah, no, look, I don't dislike Sherry, but I don't like her. I find her very flat. I don't think there's anything, I don't know. I mean, she's, I guess, non-offensive, and that's what you want for a talk show. But no, I think Wendy was one of the pioneers in the space.
Agreed. Agreed. It's something different. It's like appointment viewing. It's like you saw the clips, you saw how she did on social media. She had the Ask Wendy clips. How you doing? It's like memorable. When I think about Sherry Shepherd, I think of Jennifer Hudson, Tamron Hall, Sherry Shepherd. It all blends together. It's all the same crap.
And also, it is hard to, I mean, as you
And
know,
Drew Barrymore. I don't want people to think I'm saying all the black women. Drew Barrymore. It's all the same.
well,
It's all
I
blends
just
together.
thought it for a second, but I didn't say that. I was like, okay, but Drew Barrymore too,
Yes.
yes.
It's all the same.
But what was I going to say? No, as you know, and I can attest to this, it is very hard to go on air, give your